Hello and welcome to Monday's MLB DFS Slate Breakdown. It is Monday, May 8th. We are back. We're going to break down this slate. And before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on all our videos. And if you're not already a LineStar subscriber, you should be. Only $29.99 gets you access to all of our props, all of our DFS tools. Props AI has been absolutely crushing lately, and $29.99 gets you that and your DFS. Now, let's get into the good old slate. We got 8 games, and does not look like any weather concerns on the main slate. There are some in the earlier slate if you are playing that, so keep an eye on that. Now, let's get into the slate as a whole. To no surprise, we have the Cy Young candidate, Zach Gallen, leading ownership. He's only 10.2K, 41% owned. And, Gallen has just been absolutely great. He is versus the Marlins. Now, Marlins are better versus righties than they are versus lefties, but they're still not great. 22% K rate, real low ISO. They're only hitting 120 off Gallen and 42 at bats, and Gallen has just been insane. 0.44 FIP. It is totally not sustainable, but I think we should just ride it while we are. He has almost a 32% or 33% K rate over his last 20 starts, but his last 5, that K rate is up to 41.6. That is DeGrom or Strider levels of Ks. So major upside here. Combined K rate, we have at 31%. So you got to like Gallen. Totally understand why people are going there. Now, Logan Gilbert is next. He is at home versus the Rangers. Rangers striking out 23% versus righties. They do have a decent WOBA versus them, though. So that is one thing to understand. And we are in a pitcher-friendly park with a 25.6% combined K rate. I think you got to like Gilbert here. He's been pitching really good. 2.87 FIP over his last 5 starts. His ERA is a little elevated at 4.45, but I think that's just showing that he's had a little bit of bad luck here. So I like Gilbert as well. Totally fine with him. Now we got Nasty Nestor versus the Athletics. Kind of got to like Nasty Nestor here. 24% K rate for Oakland versus lefties. Meanwhile, Nestor has those big blow-up strikeout games. This is one that he absolutely could have one of those games in, even though he hasn't been his best yet this year. There's a chance we could see it today. Then we got good old Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease has had a real tough start to the year. He had a couple good games, and then he's really struggled as of late. But this is against Kansas City, so there's major upside in this spot. 22% K rate versus righties. They have low WOBA, low ISO. The one thing I do have to say about Cease struggles is he's really gone against good offenses. Minnesota, Baltimore, Tampa twice, Minnesota again. So not only are they good offenses, also 2 good offenses that have seen him twice, which does make it a little bit harder for him. Combined K rate today is only 22%, and that is likely due to the fact that his K rate over his last 5 starts is down to 20.8%. So if you believe that 20.8% K rate over his last 5 starts is here to stay, you should definitely be fading him here. If you think he is more the 25% K rate guy or plus, then this is a good spot with relatively lower ownership. Outside of him, the load kind of dart throw ownership plays that I like Freddie Peralta. He is versus the Dodgers, but Peralta's good, man. He's a really good pitcher. 3.68 FIP over his last 5, 3.3 over his last 20, 27% K rate, combined K rate of 24%. Pretty solid K rate here for Peralta versus Dodger team at a decent price and low ownership. Descalfini is kind of interesting. It's versus the Nationals. They don't have super high K rate, but he should be able to pitch deep into this game, rack up a couple Ks. Nobody's going there. And I would not go to John Gray personally. I think he's in a real tough spot versus Seattle, and he just hasn't been himself. My big worry here is 11% K rate, which is down big time from where he was last year. Now let's flip over to FanDuel here. Check out ownership for the pitchers. We got Logan Gilbert, then Nestor Cortez, Dylan Cease, and Hunter Brown. So Zach Gallen, third highest owned here. I would probably take Gallen if that is, was to stay there. I think Gallen's in a great spot. He has by far the most upside on this slate. But I don't mind, going to any of the other guys as well. Now let's jump into some stacks. Let's see what these guys got. And the highest owned is going to be the White Sox versus Zach Greinke. To no surprise, although the Giants are right up here as well. Giants have an interesting team versus Jake Irving. And there's Greinke too. Irving, 5.38 FIP. I think you can absolutely stack against him. He's in a decent spot here. The splits are also showing good for the Giants, so no surprise. Now, Greinke, I love to stack against him. This White Sox team, though, especially without Eloy, just is not that great of a hitting team. So I am worried to follow a poor hitting team when they are high owned. That is just me personally. You guys can do whatever you want. And as we go to the highest projected, we have the Dodgers. Dodgers are all over this, going against Freddie P. Now, obviously, I don't really agree with this. I just mentioned that I like Freddie P here. But, I mean, man, it's the Dodgers. It's hard to count them out ever. The one thing I would have to say is they are a fairly expensive stack, these higher projected ones that are going there. But it's the splits info, and that is why our system's really liking the Dodgers over Freddie P. Now, if we scroll down, we got some Texas there. Texas are in, it's another tough spot against Logan Gilbert. Once again, it's the splits that are showing that you can stack against them. Now, if we go to the value, if we're going to be paying up at pitcher, we're going to need some value. Washington checks in versus Del Scalfini, and White Sox obviously are there as well. And high ceiling plays, Texas all over it. Now, let's try and figure out how we can get to some other stacks, what's going on. So the Giants definitely over the last 20 starts, Giants are popping here with highest FIP of 5.38 for Irving. After him, let's check over the last 5. Seattle. Now, Seattle's one I really like. The one thing is Gray has been better away than he has been at home lately, but John Gray just has not been himself, as you can see, last 5 starts. FIP of 6, whip is real high, giving up, a lot of fantasy points per plate attempt, and the splits are favoring Seattle. So I think Seattle's in a really interesting spot here, so I definitely like them. A lot of barrel balls there as well, which is kind of interesting. Now let's try and see what else we got here. So Yankees are in a decent spot versus JP Sears. Sears 4.68 FIP over his last 20 starts, up to 5.11 over his last 5. And the real interesting thing to me here is this Oakland bullpen is just awful. So, and Yankee splits kind of favor the matchup as well. So I think the Yankees are a really interesting spot, which it's not really popping up on any easy metric to follow here. Also, it appears the Diamondbacks are kind of going overlooked if the White Sox are the highest owned, but yet the Diamondbacks have the highest run total. They're against Braxton Garrett, who is a decent pitcher, has some K upside, but isn't working deep into games and is allowing a lot of really hard contact. The Diamondbacks bullpen's not that great either, so I think Arizona's kind of interesting. They also are a team that can score points, fantasy points, in a lot of different ways because they have some speed on the base path as well. Houston, you can never count out. However, Sandoval's, a solid pitcher here. What else do we got here? As we mentioned, Cease has been struggling a little bit. If you think he struggles again, might be interesting to stack the Royals. The Royals have been hitting the ball decently lately, and the White Sox bullpen is awful. So if you can get Cease out of the game early, the Royals could really put up some numbers here. So, guys, that will do it for us today. Quick wrap up. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to our videos. Become a LineStar member. Join us in the chat. You guys have a good day. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.